It's time for Coming in Hotter, Sens post-game show.
What's up, everyone? Live from the Sports Interaction Studio, it's Coming in Hotter with Cody Gaudreau, Jamison Bridle, and Graham Nichols with me. Tough showing. Right 5 seconds left in overtime. Pavel Zacha pots it in for a 3-2 Bruins win against the Sens. Boys, how we feeling, though? It feels like I haven't talked to you guys in, a million years.
It's been a minute. J-Mo, what's going on, man? Looks like you're on Yorkie Shed Wi-Fi. What is happening?
I just, somebody has to carry it. I've connected directly to the router. It's done nothing to help, but that's okay. A little dejected.
All right.
Now.
It's a recurring theme. It's all good. It's continuity between the shows. I like it.
It's the wrong kind of continuity. All right, Graham, come on. And it's a bad night in general. I got crap Wi-Fi, and that last goal should not have gone in.
Oh, come on.
In fairness, though, like Zacha's goal, Zacha could have scored like 5 seconds earlier off the original like McAvoy feed side of the net, like wide open cage, and he just got knocked down kind of as it was coming in. But tough way to lose a game.
Yeah. Gonna start with the positive, though, for the Sens. Finally, for only the third time this season, they score the first goal. Nonetheless, on the first shot on an old Sens goalie, Michael Amadio. I bet Yorkie's jumping with joy still. He didn't even watch the rest of the game. I'll say it right now. I feel like that was a big moment for the Sens for the rest of the game. Because, Graham, how we're talking always about how the Sens need to get every point they need in November. And, I guess starting the game off right kind of just set the tone, eh?
Yeah. But, like, everyone focuses on November. And I totally understand. It's like, for the past, like, several years, like 5-6 years, Novembers have been absolutely gutting for this organization. But at the same time, it's like Steve Staios said himself, like when he came in to now, there's like 8 players who are still on that roster. And then it's like, like the rosters from like 3, 4, 5 years ago have no bearing on where this organization is at this current time. Coaches are different. Players are different. Circumstances are different. It's just like a weird coincidence that it seems to be like a recurring problem for this team. But last year especially, like I think the process was good. The results weren't there, but like the underlying numbers were encouraging. You're like, okay, if the team gets some saves, actually it's not that dissimilar from what's going on right now. Like 5-on-5, the team's doing a lot of things right. Tonight notwithstanding, they're doing a lot of things right. It's just the defensive breakdowns, the penalty kill, and the goaltending just haven't been there this year, and that's why the record probably isn't as good as it should be. But
it's still 500, tough, right?
Yeah, and to their credit, you're missing Brady Tkachuk, and I think if this team's 500 and they're still in the playoff hunt when he gets back, I think they're in good shape. But tonight was a tough one to lose. You don't want to lose against teams that you have a chance to beat, and it was there for the taking, so it's frustrating.
Sorry, Wally in the comments already. He's pulling the panic button back out.
We're not hitting the panic button. It's too soon for panic, Wally. Calm down. 500 in November, I think, is exactly it should be the goal. Because to Graham's point, we haven't had great Novembers, and regardless of who the players and who the teams are, there seems to be some kind of ghost that follows this team around. Allmark, however, though, I will say I'm agreeing with Ornithologist. I'm agreeing with Weird Y here in the chat. I think he did have a pretty good game. I'll harp on him a bit, as I started saying there earlier. Yeah, that last goal, tight on the post. Maybe you could have gotten some help on that as well. But I don't think we're hitting the panic button just yet. And we can't hit the button.
So did you like the second goal? Because it kind of just went straight through him. Like it kind of just sneaked through his body, hits the post, Geeky taps it in.
J-Mo?
You like that one?
It's not that I heard somebody say earlier that he seems a bit slow right now. I think it actually might have been Wally now that I'm thinking about it. And that's there were a couple times to see Allmark. It was like he thought he had it. That's what I thought I was watching, was somebody who thought he had it, not unlike Korpisalo's second goal from Giroux. And the tap in, I can't blame him on that. If you don't think you need to turn around and look for it, if you think you're covered, can you blame a guy for that?
It was leaky. I thought it was leaky, but
I think there's just more of that goal was just Geeky just playing that puck really well, winning that puck battle against Stützle. Like I don't know. Like yeah,
you're absolutely
let
right.
it through, but
Needed to win that board battle was brutal, and I think it comes down to the same thing we've said a lot about Stützle this year. I don't understand why he's seemingly trying to overthink a lot of plays, and luckily until that battle it would seem to be a lot of them in the offensive zone. He was making a pass where he should shoot, he was over skating or trying to be something that he didn't need to do. Today it was on the boards, and he just seemed to take that extra second to try and look for a different play rather than just backhand it up and out, and that goes in.
Yeah, there's always a time and place, right? Like there's just leaky on Geeky. Good one, Jake. Our producer Jake just said leaky on Geeky in the chat, so that's fantastic. Nice wordplay. But Timmy, yeah, like you never want to see those mistakes within the defensive end, right? Like where a guy takes an extra second to try and make a play when it's just like just do the same thing. It's like, you know, sometimes there's a time and place for conservative play. Just get it out, get the zone exit. You know, if the opposition comes back the other way, hammers it in, whatever. But in that situation, tie game, it's tough, or it's really, really tough. But
yeah, before this game, Stützle with 4 defensive zone giveaways. So he's not a guy known for giving away the puck, but I don't know. I feel like if he's allowed 1 mistake, I guess, per game, and you know this one just really cost a lot because it is in that defensive zone.
No, he's
when
not.
you have when you have the puck on your stick as often as he does, and you turn it over that infrequently, like I thought in the first period, like his control, his decision making was very sound. He wasn't, you know, they were extending shifts in their own offensive zone. They're doing a lot of things right. They just weren't generating the production, and it's in that one instance in the defensive zone, he held on to it too long and he got pinched. He got pinched by a bigger guy, and that kind of stuff can happen from time to time, and it's tough that it wound up in the back of Ottawa's net. But I really like Tim's game in the first period there.
Sorry, Jamie, go ahead.
I was gonna say I like that you're getting some love on some ideas we had last week. Cody Pete Wilson saying maybe it's time to consider putting Spence in for Jensen. You gotta love that. Come on, how do you hate that?
Yeah, I mean there was a lot of talk. You know, before the game about Spence not playing because he did play super well the last time we saw him. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, like especially going up against Boston, I wasn't surprised to see Matt and Paolo in because of the way last game against Boston went. He was in. They're known for a physical team. Like I know you got McDermott still in, but when you got Zadorov and those other guys on the other end, they're pretty intimidating. So I'm not surprised by that. But Spence has got to play at one point. But yeah, I don't know, like. You guys said earlier you didn't really like the Shabbat Jensen game, eh?
No, not at all. I thought Jensen was horrendous tonight. But the thing for me, the fourth line got absolutely caved tonight. And I think like if you dress McDermott, you know, they have Jeannot, they have Mark Haslick, like guys who are comfortable dropping big guys. There is a place to have McDermott in the lineup as a guy who can counteract that, make sure like the opposition is not running around taking liberties. At the same time, the fourth line got absolutely caved. And there was a sequence tonight where McDermott had a chance to clear the puck. He tried to skate the puck out of his own end, turned it over the blue line. The Bruins got an extended offensive zone shift for like over a minute, and they created several quality chances off it. And like that kind of stuff can't happen with McDermott on the ice. He's not a fast enough player. He doesn't do enough things well away from the puck to be effective in those situations. And, you know, like Jensen, we've talked about a few times before, like Cody, last time I was on with you, you know, it's just like he's coming off hip resurfacing. The analytics, just in terms of like his skating, they still look better than average, but they're not at the levels that they were pre-injury.
Right.
So it like, is that a concern?
Well,
maybe we don't have the exact data on what the Senators have in terms of like their bio, all the biometric data that they have available to them. It's not publicly disclosed, but
yeah,
just from watching him, he just doesn't look like the same player that he was pre-injury last year. And maybe that's part of a guy who's, you know, had a major surgery, and it's going to take time for him to get back. And just because he is healthy, pain-free, doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be the same player that it was pre-injury. And I think the conversation at some point has to be, it's everyone's like, oh, Spence for Matt and Paolo, Spence for Matt and Paolo. I think the time is getting. I think we're close to the time. There's enough data on Jensen to say, you know what, Matt and Paolo hasn't played poorly. And everyone talks about we need to be big. We need a big physical presence on the right side. It's like, okay, you know what? If we believe in Matt and Paolo, we believe in this guy to be a good player, we're going to slide him up to the second pairing with Shabbat. We're going to put Spence on the third pairing with Clevin. And all of a sudden you have a puck mover with a big physical guy. You have a Clevin with a Spence. You have Shabbat with Matt and Paolo. Let's load management Jensen. Let's make sure that he's good. That's and try but I think just for me, it's like this team obviously is going to be better if Nick Jensen is the player that he was pre-injury. Oh. Will he get back to that? I have no idea. I hope so, because this team would be a lot better. I think out of all the defensemen that we're talking about in the depth, the ranks of the depth, I think if him at his best is better than a Matt and Paolo, it's definitely better than a Jordan Spence. But it's can we get there? I think that's the question. It's a matter of how do we get a player of Jensen's ilk to that development? And right now it doesn't look like it's there, unfortunately. And that's kind of the riddle that the Senators have to unroll. But I think it's getting to a point where it's you kind of have to entrust Matt and Paolo to be that guy. And I think you have to give Jordan Spence an extended opportunity on the third pairing with Tyler Clevin.
Yeah, it goes back to that argument, right, that we've been having all season of is Spence at 100% better than Jensen at 80% or whatever he's at right now. But I don't know. It seems like the time has come, like you said, to just at least experiment with it. That's something I haven't heard a lot. I've heard it a couple of times, but the whole getting Matt and Paolo up, do you think that affects, because Yorkie was talking about it the last couple shows, does that affect, Clevin having to adapt to a new partner again?
It would. I mean, it's just a comfort. It's a comfort thing, right? You get used to playing with a certain player. Clevin played exclusively with Matt and Paolo when he was in Belleville in their last year together. And Paul G, same thing. Matt and Paolo must stay together. It's these guys have played the last 2 years almost exclusively together.
I don't think
Shabbat, but Spence has played well. In the minutes that he's played with Clevin, Spence's analytics are very strong. Obviously, right. He's not the physical guy. He's not going to strip guys of the puck when he hits them, but he's going to control guys defensively with gaps with his stick. It's just a different way of defending.
I saw somebody.
I think he can get away with it in the regular season. I don't know if you necessarily want him there. And we saw with LA last year, he was averaging 7 minutes a night in the postseason. They're insulating him, right, for a reason, against bigger, faster teams, especially that time of year. But I think if you insulate Spence in the right scenarios, you play with Clevin, who adds those elements that you want on a third pair. I think it can work. And at this point, how much more evidence do you need just regarding Nick Jensen's play before you're okay, you know what, we're going to try and shake things up here a little bit?
Yeah, I mean,
well, that's my point that I'm sitting here thinking about. I got to say that the point Graham just made about keeping them together and insulating Clevin and all this is the NHL, and they haven't tried what you just suggested in taking those big Matt and Paolo and Clevin, spreading them out. Yes, they are the big guys. They're a little slower than Spence even. They're definitely slower than Shabbat, and spreading that wealth, spreading that kind of game into a puck-moving defenseman's game, letting them play off each other, and not doing that just because it hasn't been done yet. You're not sure if it's going to work. Well, that's just crazy to me, because if it's not working right now, everyone's saying Jensen out and just slide Spence in where he's playing now. That's not good enough, because I think it also translates to something that Adam's really touching on a lot here in the chat. A lot of this has to do with the offense of this team as well. And it could just be that the defense not being reliable, and regardless of what scenario we can come up with on Spence or Jensen or Matt and Paolo or Clevin or whoever plays with whoever, you need to try and settle the back end to allow the forwards to feel comfortable that they trust it's going to happen. And I think that goes on to Ullmark as well. I think it's just something that's growing within this team, is there's a mistrust in not thinking that they can cheat a little bit, and not thinking, not they should. Everyone plays defense, but why not throw it at the wall at this point? And that's why I disagreed right off the top and saying, people saying you can't split up Clevin, Matt, and Paolo. Yes, you can. I think you should at this point. Let's see what it can do for all of it, for the entire experiment.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about a game that was decided by one goal and that did go to overtime. So I don't know. I feel like the panic button's out there now, but I don't.
No,
I feel
but
like,
it's like in a league that's driven so much by parity, and like the Senators, like, you know, like if healthy, I thought they could contend for a top 3 spot in the Atlantic. But I mean, like the separation between a top 3 team in the Atlantic and a wild card seed is going to be probably very small. And then the separation between a wild card seed and like a team outside the postseason probably isn't going to be that big either. I think last time I checked the Eastern Conference Standings, most of the teams were above 500. And it's just, there is a ton of parity. And I think like when there is that much parity, you got to work the margins. And if you have easily addressable areas on a roster where you can look for upgrades or potential improvements, I think you have to target those right away, because if you wait too long, the opportunity to capture points and potentially improve your roster at certain points of the season might already be past.
only teams in the Atlantic below 500 are Buffalo and Florida, which feels so weird to say, but no, you're totally right. I mean, Panthers are last, 13 points. Habs are first with 20. It's ridiculous how close it is. They just can't afford to just give away a game or even a single point at this point. We're gonna go back to the rest of the game, but let's check. JMO, you got in on the betting action, so let's check how those went out real quick, because you were feeling pretty confident before that, right? So this segment,
same game parlay. Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, this segment is brought to you by Sports Interaction, Sportsbook, and Casino. Every game is your game when you bet with Sports Interaction. Bet the action on every period, every shift, every shot with Canada's homegrown sportsbook, Sports Interaction. Ontario only, 18 plus. Please play responsibly. So yeah, sorry, I cut you off there, but how you feeling about those? Obviously, it didn't work out too well, but
not well, not well at all. And I was raised, my father always said never bet more than a quarter. So if anybody's looking at that, that's just me paying homage to my dad. It's a lot of fun playing this, and I got into it thinking, okay, I want to bet on the Sens here. I feel like Pasta, how can you really say anything? And same with Stützle. Those are two guys that can turn it on at will. I really thought I had a shot here. I can't go wrong with plus 750. I mean, it's enticing. We're in this for a reason. It's fun. Let's take some. Let's gamble a little bit.
You went really safe, which honestly I respect. But yeah, I'm surprised that not even one of those hit. Like,
it was bad.
You're telling me Tim and Pasta, like, they're probably the best bets you could have put down. Like, they're two of the best goal scorers on those two teams right now. Like, I added Batherson if we switch to mine, because I'm loving those double odds, those double chances that Sports Interaction offers. But yeah, like, you're telling me Batherson and Pastrnak, they just felt like a safe bet, right? The two leading goal scorers on each team. And then I think Wally bet on Greg as well to get. Yeah,
I don't know. It's some crazy like 6-leg parlay. You're like, oh, okay, a lot of stuff has to go right here.
Yeah, he loves those.
But I kind of agree with the Greg bet, because he seems due. And you could say the same thing for Eller on both of those guys. I understand why Cody went for those. If Wally did go for them, I get that move too, because these are two guys that have started a bit slow. Eller he seems to be really enjoying himself with the Sens, and on a team where you're playing a guy like McDermott, you're going to have these moments where you could see Eller playing third, second line, and yeah, like that much experience, those many games, he's due. And the same thing goes for Ridley Gregg. That guy just works his ass off every single shift, and he's just due for a goal.
Yeah, he's only got one goal so far.
He's had a slow start. Yeah, offensively, he's had a really slow start.
And yeah, it felt like his type of game. A lot of people were saying on Twitter, and I agreed with it, where Boston's that type of team that Greg is gonna love playing against. But that Greg Cousins type of more grindy players, I guess you could say. But yeah, it just didn't work out. But the thing I was confident with, and it didn't end up paying off, but I was right about it, under 6.5 goals. I almost went for under 4.5, which wouldn't have hit, because after that 7-2 win a couple weeks ago, I just couldn't see that repeating itself, and especially with a team that's so like defensively tight like Boston, that's so responsible. Sens didn't get a lot of opportunities. I mean, they had 2 shots in the first period, man, and they were both from Michael Amadio.
That was brutal. It was hard to believe. And then all of a sudden they ended 25-22 in favor of the Bruins still. But to come back that far, I'm guessing the majority of which in the last 8 minutes of the third period, because the first 10 minutes belonged to the Bruins. But yeah, 2 shots in the first period was worrisome. Very Korpisalo though in the first shot.
It was tough though, right? Because if you look at like shots directed at the net, like it was 6-4 Ottawa at one point in the first period. Okay, like they look comfortable, and then it's just like Boston just flicked the switch, and Ottawa kind of went in the tank, and they finished the period like 20-10 in favor of Boston. And then shots on goal were obviously 9-2. Scoring chances were 5-3 for Boston. High danger chances were 2-2. But like Boston kind of took over in the second half of that period. It was just it's frustrating because Ottawa at 5-on-5 this year has played really well. So it's those kind of stretches against a team that's not necessarily that talented or skilled beyond their first line guys. It's just that's where the frustration lies.
Well, it also adds a layer of just them being completely unpredictable, where anything can happen because they all play like that from their second to the fourth line. They all play so similar that, you know, who knows what can happen, who's going to end up, you know, getting that, because it does come to, I don't want to say it comes down to luck, but it kind of does, because, you know, it kind of just goes to who can find that gap towards the net, who can get that lucky shot, who can get that lucky rebound. But if that's, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Cody. Just the issue for me is Tim's line is always going. I find Pinto's line is usually pretty good. I want more out of Dylan Cousins at 5-on-5. I want more out of his line. Like him, Greg, and Perron, just they didn't do anything tonight. And it's like those are the games against weaker divisional opponents or weaker Eastern Conference opponents where you have a chance to pick up 2 points. It's like those are the games where you want these guys to kind of like step up and be like that secondary depth and secondary scoring depth that you desperately, sorely need. And it's just like Cousins has had a great year production wise, but like many of those points have come on the power play. Shooting percentage is really high. I still find they just need a little bit more out of that guy at 5-on-5.
Yeah, I feel like he used to play super aggressive and then it just kind of got toned down. But before we move on, every game is your game when you bet with Sports Interaction. From puck drop to overtime, bet with live odds on every play with easy deposits and payouts. Go to sportsinteraction.com/cominginhot to open an account. Ontario only, 19 plus. Please play responsibly. So on that Cousins note, him and Timmy were the only guys with above 50% in the faceoff dot. Cousins with 63, Stützle with 71. That just felt like a complete opposite of what we're used to. And I know faceoff stats don't even come close to telling the whole story. But like you said, it is a little worrying to see him on 5-on-5, right?
Yeah, it's been like that the entire season too. It's like his expected goals is really low. It's just like a super talented player, does a lot of things well, but for whatever reason, it's just like it's not materializing positively at 5-on-5. Just in terms of sustained pressure in the offensive zone, creating chances and stuff. I think he's been very good on the power play. His one-timer in particular has been an absolute weapon for this team this season. But it's just figuring out a way to maximize his tools, because I think he does have tools. It's just he's got a skill set that has value. It's just how do you unlock that potential? Whereas like a guy like Shane Pinto, who's just more of a coming into the season, I would have said like Shane Pinto, great shot, great two-way aptitude, but might not necessarily have the playmaking ability and offensive aptitude to be like a true second line center. And he's flipped the script. I think he's at this stage of the season. I know we're only like 14 games in now, but like he is surpassed Cousins, and it's not even remotely close right now.
Would you take Cousins and move him down the lineup in favor of sending a message?
Well, I think it's already happened, though. I think it's like nominally, everyone gets hung up on this. Who's the second line center? Is it Cousins or it's Pinto? And I think it's a nominal thing. I think you look at the play with Pinto where he's played with Giroux and Amadio tonight, like two very cerebral two-way guys. Maybe like modest production out of Amadio. Like I think he has potentially like 20 goal potential, maybe 35, 40 points if everything breaks right. But like not high end goal scorer. Closure is towards the tail end of his career, but he's still on pace for like 60 points. he's maximizing what he's getting, Shane Pinto. And I don't feel at 5-on-5 like Cousins is maximizing the potential of the guys playing around him.
I think sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Michael putting in the chat there. I think part of Cousins' struggle at 5v5 is lack of Brady and him getting less wingers, and that can help carry him, i.e. Batherson and him work well. I don't hate that point because now he's playing with Giroux, and not that Giroux's playing bad, but I don't know, it just feels like a weird combination between the two of them. And then it's been mostly Amadio, sometimes Greg playing with him. But that's not a knock on those two guys, but it's a downgrade from playing with Batherson, isn't it? And that's probably going to make him look a lot worse than he used to.
I don't know, like J-Mo, I don't know how you feel. Like, I don't even hate the idea of just making Cousins a winger. Just a big, fast skill guy who can finish with one-timers and get his shot off. I think like that's something they could potentially explore. Move Pinto up. You can slide Greg to the center, third line center role where he's like, that's his natural, comfortable position. And that's just one way to get a goal scorer up the lineup, especially when Brady returns, right? So
bang on. You're bang on. And that's similar to the defense chat. We mentioned, we sort of touched on moving people around, take people out of the comfort zone and put Cousins on the wing. Put them. I mean, if you move Perron, if you switch Perron and Giroux and get Eller up into a line with a guy like Cousins, so you bring that cerebral player into somebody who's got the raw talent like Cousins does, and Mario can stay right there on the third line as well. I think you're on the right track with a guy as and I really hate putting so much on any one player, even somebody as unicorn like as Brady Tkachuk. With a guy like Tkachuk out, what's the harm in try it for a couple? And maybe this is why I don't coach an NHL team, but try it, move him to the wing. This is a guy who's going to battle, and it comes back to what I said earlier about sending a message. That could be a message saying, hey man, we're just doing this now, and a good chat with the coach. And I think you're on the right track, Graham. And I love that you brought that point up, because why not?
And like last season when he arrived in Ottawa, like following the trade, he was in on the forecheck. He was banging. Like I think his first game he had like 10 plus hits. He can get in on the forecheck. He can play that style because he skates well. He's physical. He's a big dude, and he can finish plays. So it's like, I think he's got a toolkit that's got a lot of desirable traits. It's just, how do you maximize the value of what Dylan Cousins brings? And I think like that's something, especially in a season like this where like Brady's hurt, you have games where you have opportunity to try new things and different things. So maybe that's something that they could explore.
He still had 16 minutes of ice time tonight though. So I feel like ice time's not the issue here. It's really who he plays with. Right? Yeah. Like we're agreeing on that. It's whether it's Giroux, whether it's Amadio, whether it's Perron, like something's got to give. That's just the way I'm looking at it, right? Well, no, because Brady
loving the French pronunciations, by the way. Loving
I know.
You just slide them in. You just slide them in. And you're like,
I got flames in the chat. I got to represent.
Yeah, it's all good.
Paul G. I love that last name. Pinto was the best center tonight. How come he's not on the first power play unit?
Who are you taking off?
Who are you taking off? Plus, out of the people you're taking off, are you taking out a left-handed shot, which is already hard to find, or we're already lacking on the power play, right? So I feel
he's not taking Batherson's spot.
Absolutely not taking Stützle. Is he taking Greg's spot? Which is, can he be that net front presence? He was a couple years ago,
and then Cousins has a one-timer. So
I want to chime in on Batherson there for a second. Do you say that because he's hot, or because? Why do you say that?
I think it's more versatile. Like, he sees the ice very well. He's a very, very good playmaker.
Agreed.
He controls. I feel at times, as good as Timmy is, and as skilled as Timmy is, like when Batherson gets the puck, he's the one who's kind of dictating where the play goes. He's the guy who settles everything down. He's the one who he's a conductor.
And at the end of the day, Pinto did start the season in that on the third line, and Batherson's your first line winger now, and that's pretty concrete. So it's just kind of like in the hierarchy of the game, like you have to give that guy in the first power play because he is your best scorer. I know Pinto started off hot and was the leading scorer, but I mean, it's looking like it's going to be Batherson for the rest of the year. he's that guy, and you can't just take him out, especially with like it's not just because he's hot right now, but on top of him just being completely hot right now. Like, can you imagine if we took him out every time he went through a dry spell? Like,
No, and I'm not suggesting
Batherson wouldn't have got any ice time, right?
Yeah, I'm not suggesting you just immediately penalize a person from coming off of a hot streak. I think, I think I'm realizing something about myself tonight and saying that I've got a bit of a theme going with let's just, pick it up and throw it at the wall. And you're right. This is I love a bit of anarchy every now and then. And I think, especially for the way teams study each other these days, I've had some chats in person recently about the power play in general, and it's a bit predictable and all that. So if you did, and obviously you would wait for production to dip a little bit, but not everybody has a book on a guy like Pinto, who, yes, Graham, you're right, Batherson is going to be a lot more calm under pressure, I think, and at least at first. But I really believe there's even more to Shane Pinto's game, and something like that would be a really fun way to reward the amount of work he does. I mean, I know this is a bit off topic, but look at him drawing that penalty towards the end of the game tonight. Like, just that was putting it all on his back, driving to the net while down a man in the third and drawing a penalty to draw it up to 4-on-4. It just unbelievable work like that from him is, I think it needs to be rewarded.
Mm-hmm.
Power play is still going at 27% too. They're not leading the league anymore. They're 7th right now. Yeah, 7th in the league. But
Get the
I mean, at 20,
Still clicking.
well, I'm saying at 27% when most teams are happy right around there at 25. I don't think there's any complaints there with the power play. Like, it's not an issue for the Sens right now at all.
No, there's moments though you wish you get a little bit more. The second power play unit, especially, I think there's times when you're like, I just,
Yeah.
I find like Thomas can hold on to the puck a little bit too long. He's not a threat to shoot from the blue line. Ridley Gregg hasn't been producing at all. Like, there are moments like Lars Eller's out there, like Zetterlund, who they've committed a lot of money in term to, isn't even playing anymore. Like, there's just the second unit's been problematic at times as well. But it's hard. I think it's like a good time, like Jameson suggests. I think there is an opportunity to experiment with what they have so far. But to their credit, they did pick up a point, so that's not the worst case scenario. But their 5-on-5 play has been good, and it's just they got to tighten up some stuff.
Sorry, you just said the magic word right there that I really like: experiment. Yes, we're in November. Yes, the Atlantic is so competitive. I personally love to see it when coaches aren't scared to experiment. JMO, you talked about it a little earlier about how, you wouldn't mind seeing the defense moving around. Just in general, why not experiment with that lineup? Why not experiment with the power play? Why not experiment with the penalty kill, which is, last in the league, working at 62%? Why not?
At the end of the day, it's going to work or it's not. And I mean, you both made very, very good points. And I'm certainly not just going to play advocate all night or devil's advocate all night. I think there's a lot going right. One of the things that this team is missing is that unicorn. And we just need to go into whatever we can in November and try and maintain. Sure, we've slipped. The power play slipped a little bit. The penalty kill's still strong. Face-offs are still strong. But if it goes,
the penalty kill is not strong.
Sorry, I said the penalty is not strong. And if it continues to slide in that direction, that's where I go. And that experimentation, why not? I've said it about 15 times tonight. Why not?
So I'll switch gears here. So one of the big things coming into the game, obviously Linus Ullmark had his comments with the media yesterday, just in terms of he doesn't give two bleeps about what outside noise has to say about his game and where it's at. We talked about the second goal. We talked about the overtime goal, but the puck was just kind of laying by his left pad. He didn't seal the post. Gets chipped in by Zaka. Boston wins the game. But like up until those two goals, I thought he was strong. Like he was giving them a chance to win. He looked fine, looked very comfortable. What do you guys think about his game tonight?
No argument here. He still stopped 22 shots. I think that's Sports and Ration had the over under right there at stopping 22 shots. But yeah, I didn't see any, like, those 2 goals weren't bad goals that he let in. I know you talked about like the Geeky goal where he kind of let that shot through. Apart from that, that might be something that's 50% his fault, 50% not. But the rest of it, yeah, he looked completely solid to me.
I mentioned earlier that I somewhat agreed with the show today in saying that he seems a bit slow on, looking behind him, getting across and all that. But just the same, he's challenging hard. And in that first period, it was end to end to end. And he was coming way out of his crease to challenge these guys. You can tell he believes in himself. Is there something to worry about going forward with Linus Ullmark? No, I won't say that for a second. Has he had a crap start? Yes, that's fine. But I don't have I haven't asked Jake to get the stats, so I won't put him on the spot. But I know that he has bad starts and rebounds massively. He did it last year. He's the kind of guy who, I think he's saying those things, I don't give 2 bleeps about the outside noise, to maybe say, just leave me alone, let me play my game and figure things out, because that's what he seems to be doing. He seems to be standing up and saying, okay, I'm going to give everything I've got, and I'm not worried about Linus Ullmark in the slightest.
There was a certain piece in the Hockey News from a certain author that we might not
shameless
may or,
plug.
that
like
we may or may not want to shout out right there. But yeah, historically, I don't think Sens fans have anything to be worried about. He's a guy that usually figures it out.
But that's the weird part, right? Like, I think of like career .915 save percentage. So like you look at his save percentage this season, you're like, okay, like it is very reasonable to assume it's going to trend towards his career norms. That's just totally reasonable. But at the same time, since arriving in Ottawa, he's played, I think it's like 61 games, 62 after tonight. He had a really hot, unsustainably hot, unbelievable hot month from late November through December. Where he was 8-0-1, 954, I think save percentage. He was just like, he was unconscious. He was playing out of his mind. But those games notwithstanding, including the postseason, you take those games out, the rest of the body work, he's sitting at like an 880 save percentage. So like 5-6 of the time, he hasn't been good. So, you can't discount someone for having a great stretch, because that's part of his whole body of work, right? You can't just be like, well, if you did that to any player, you take out their like 10, 20 hottest games, you'd be like, well, yeah, look at what he is away from those games. But at the same time, it's a goaltender where it's like, it's a little worrisome. And it's a guy who's 32 years old. They got him signed for 3 years beyond this season, at 8.25. Like you're paying this guy to be elite.
It's a lot of money.
And it's a lot of money. It's a lot of commitment. And he's 32 years old, and you need a guy who's aging, going to that aging golden year time of his career. You need him to play at a high level. I think, especially with Brady out, I think you need him to play at an extremely high level for this team to cash points. And to this point of the season, it hasn't happened yet. But to Jameson's point earlier, like he does have a history of bouncing back and proving himself. And that's what you're hoping for this year. It's just you're waiting for it to happen, waiting for it to happen consistently. But it's been tough. It's been really, really tough.
So that being said, once Brady comes back and Ullmark goes on that crazy run like he did last year in December, team has 0 issues after that.
Oh, well, that's it. I think that's the encouraging part too. Like if you expect some normalization, some regression in his save percentage, then and the team continues to play well at 5-on-5, I think it's like, okay, like if you get the saves and you play well at 5-on-5, chances are you're going to win the majority of the games. And then if they could ever fix, and if you can find a way to fix that penalty kill a little bit, I think part of that comes down to saves. Like you're talking about like Ullmark stats, and I think like heading into tonight, I think like there were 7 out of 11 of his starts where he stopped not more than 90% of the shots at 5-on-5. So 5-on-5 wasn't the issue; it was the penalty kill. And it's like, well, what's wrong with the penalty kill? And it's like you're giving up high danger chances down low because the puck's getting worked below the top 3 skaters on the kill. And you're leaving, mismatches down low. And then that's where it's like you're relying heavily on your goaltender. You're relying heavily on the guy covering the net to make the smart decisions and great plays, and that's just hasn't been happening consistently for the Senators. But if they clean that up, his save percentage should go up. He should start winning games, and we can see the better version of Linus Ullmark.
I might be simplifying it, but he gave the Sens a chance to win there. From there, you can't really complain. Moving on. Clevin, only one hit in this game, his 18th of the season. Man, oh man, though, what a hit.
Beautiful.
J-Mo, talk about your reaction you had immediately after seeing that.
My favorite part about that is him shoving Lindholm off with one arm both times. And okay, so he's put Peak into the bench. Peak is down. He's thinking about his life choices.
That was
pretty
scary.
This is what Tyler Clevin is. This is exactly what I think he needs to aspire to be. He needs to aspire to be Nikita Zadorov. He understands his role. He is a big, strong young man. And the other thing he
needs to call out New York Islanders fans in his Instagram account DMs.
I don't know about two-handing somebody to the face when they're on their knees, but that's okay. It's one thing I love about Tyler Clevin is here's a guy who is playing for every one of those $1.6 million that his AAV is for the next 2 years. And that guy is going to be one of the best deals. Let's go back again to our conversation about the defense. I feel like you could put Tyler Clevin on a pairing with a puck-moving defenseman, and he's going to play that role. He's going to stay where he is. He can get the puck out. He's smart. He's simple. And the guy is a tree, and I love him. I just love how he's playing his game. And yeah, okay, one hit tonight, and here we are, ready to, almost ready to say it was the hit of the night. I could even go and say, I know before the show I said it was Giroux, and we can get to that, but that could be a good turning point right there. That's a fire up moment for the bench.
I fully agree. And I mean, I feel like he's turned it up more this year because he was always a physical defenseman. And, when they first drafted him, people were talking, oh, this might be the hardest hitter in the NCAA. But I feel like he's turned it up a notch this year where he doesn't hit as much as he used to, but his hits are hard. I mean, he's 7th on the team in hits after 12 games. It's not a lot, but I love to see it. And, he might have the potential to be a second pairing guy, but he is leading the team in giveaways and everything.
I think he's comfortable. Honestly, I think it's that's a good. He's a young guy who's getting more and more believes in himself. He's surrounded by a lot of good veterans, none of whom are really playing his game. But if only we had a puck moving defenseman sitting in. Michael's on fire tonight. Well done. Wouldn't that be something? Put this small puck moving guy that everyone's saying shouldn't be on the ice because people can beat him when in the one-on-one battles, and put him with the largest human being we possibly can find. And there you go. Weird how that might work out.
Clevin with 17 minutes of ice time tonight. So he's obviously got a good amount of trust on his side. Graham, sorry, I feel like I just interrupted you.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I was just going to say it didn't matter when I chimed in, but speaking of Clevin, I asked him about stepping up physically. I agree with everything that you said, Cody. This year, more than previous years, he's stepping up. He's asserting himself with big open ice hits or big hits along the wall, and you see them more and more frequently. It seems like they're happening every game, every second game now. And I asked him about that. And it's for a guy who had a reputation in college in North Dakota, or even in Belleville when he was there for a full season, he would almost chase those hits because he wanted those hits, and he's kind of had to teach himself to learn to pick his spots. And to Jameson's point, he's more comfortable. He's extremely comfortable. He learned the Senator system. He knows when those opportunities are afforded to him, and now it's just a maturity and an experience factor where now he knows when he can pick his spots, when he can do that, and it's not going to expose him. It's not going to send the other team on a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1 the other way. He's just way more selective and attentive to that. And now you're starting to see that before, he was a physical guy, but now you're starting to see him punish the opposition. And now it's becoming almost not a predatory hit, but he's hitting to hurt people now.
Yeah, I mean, 6'5", 225 pounds. Can't really blame him for throwing that around. The conversation around bringing in physicality is always around, Matt and Paolo versus Spence now, but him being, not going to say the only guy because he isn't, but him being probably the main physical D on the team, because you're not going to want Sanderson or Shabbat throwing the body around like he does.
Not with that attitude.
I guess not. Anything is possible, but it adds a certain level of stability that he didn't have before, which I think like you guys said, it contributes to that confidence.
Yes, it does. And I think Graham hit the nail. I think I said confidence where I meant confidence and maturity. That's a very good point as well.
Yeah.
As you step into the NHL, as everybody will say, and it's the best of the best of the best are now playing at their best every game. So yeah, North Dakota, Belleville, he was able to just run around like a wrecking ball. Now he's got to choose. And again, here we are talking about one hit that stopped the game dead in its tracks. And this young kid is in the center of all of it. And I love every second of it. It's just we need more of it. I think the team, last time we chatted, Cody, I think I brought up the fact that we aren't really, and Graham, I've said this to you before as well, we don't play like the team that's hard to play against. I saw a little bit more of it to begin this game. It was a good first period. A lot of those rushes, not a lot of whistles, so it opened the ice up a little bit. But I think when Cleven steps up and chooses those moments, it shows the rest of the team, hey guys, that we can build off of this.
He's so entertaining. I'd love to see him play more. Like, Jake Sanderson's probably the most entertaining player on the team right now, but man, oh man, Cleven is just fun to watch. He's so stable, and you don't notice how big he is until he uses that.
He has experience playing his offside, like he did in North Dakota a little bit, but like
maybe
you almost wish he was a right shot guy, just so he could play higher up the lineup and kind of be like one of the top 4 guys. Because I think he has that potential to be like a good shutdown, a guy that you can play in top 4, or play on the PK, like be that net front guy on the PK who's just smart.
Wow.
Like you talk to him, he is a very smart, intellectual guy. And it'd be nice to see him get those opportunities, but like playing behind Jake Sanderson, playing behind Thomas Chabot, like those opportunities aren't necessarily available to him right now. He's working towards it, but it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time.
I agree with you. I feel like on most teams he could be that second pairing, maybe first pairing guy, depending on the situation. But on most teams, he's a second pairing guy. Also, big congratulations up there for Monsieur Claude Giroux, because with his goal tonight, he's 64th all time in points. Not a big deal. Tied with Mike Bossy and Joe Nieuwendyk. That is
4 points away from I love what he's doing. 4 points away from moving up.
Guy behind him is Connor McDavid, which just says how crazy good that guy is. You might have heard of him. But yeah, Bossy, Nieuwendyk, those are 2 names that I just grew up hearing about how great these guys are. My dad, he's a huge Mike Bossy fan. I never really got to see them.
Or traumatic if you're an Ottawa Senators fan.
Go ahead, tell that story, Graham. Why not?
No, it's good. It's good. I'm not going to go there. It's all good.
Still raw, Cody. Still raw.
Again, that's not in my memory specifically. So sorry if I brought up some PTSD for you guys.
No, it's all good.
That goal right there, though, is just classic Claude Giroux to me. It's a smart play. Seeing something that he's probably looked at the entire ice before taking that shot and realizes, forget it. Let's just, and hey, Korpisalo let it squeak through, and it worked for him. I'm not saying Claude Giroux's had luck throughout his career. I certainly don't mean to paint that picture, but it's a smart veteran play, and I know this is going to sound like me tooting my own horn here, but I gotta say it once before it all shuts down on me. We need to shoot the bloody puck more. For the love of God. Shoot the damn puck.
It was weird seeing him like seconds before that goal went in. He had an open look at it was a weird angle, but like wide open cage on Korpisalo, and he missed. He just threw it back through the crease, and you're like, oh, like Claude would have had that. And then he scores like on his next shot. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
because Claude got mad at Claude.
Sorry, I saw this thing on Twitter. I can't remember who posted it, but I will give you a shout out because that was amazing. If I can find it, some people just going along with the joke, pretending he never played for another team apart from the Sens, because he is such a Sens. Like, he does feel like the dad of this group. And honestly, the only thing that I wish could be better about him is if he didn't play for the Novigrads and played for your Ottawa Junior Senators back when he was in Junior A. That's all I gotta say.
We'll give him a pass.
Hey, 2 games this weekend for the Ottawa Junior Sens. Good luck to them. And if you guys want, go watch a game. It's always fun. Anything you guys want to add to that? Because I think it's time for the Sens to just move on from that game, get ready for the big road trip up ahead. They got one home game
on Saturday.
left,
Big game in Philly. They got to pick up points. They lost, but they picked up a point, and that will help. And it's like the more points they pick up in Brady's absence, the better their cushion will be, right? So it's just like improving their margin for error down the stretch, I think, is the biggest thing, especially when you're losing a huge chunk of their offense, a huge chunk of their leadership group, a huge chunk of their culture and physicality, and like all the different dimensions. Like Jameson referred to Brady as a unicorn, and that's 100% the most apt description that you can refer to, because nobody brings the physicality and skill like Brady Tkachuk. Like, those players are just few and far between, and we're about a month away from his return, so just keep picking up the points, keep going. Hopefully you fix the goaltending, hopefully you fix the PK, and then they're doing a lot of things well with a limited roster, so better days are ahead, I hope.
I think they're in a perfect position to get over this one fast. I mean, here we are, it's 10:46. They're probably already on the bus, on the way to the plane. They've got their dads. They've got Brady. They've got a whole host of reasons to not think about what could have been tonight and move on to Philadelphia in a great mood. History, we joked about it with November. History shows they play pretty well in front of their dads. So I think looking forward to the next game, I'm feeling pretty good about the Sens. I think it's nice that we're going into a Philly and, not into one of the more demanding teams. I'm trying to be polite there. I think this is going to be an easy one for them to shrug off and say, hey, it happens, and let's just have some good times. Remember what got us here and party with dad.
So here's a question for both of you before we leave. Who are you starting on Saturday?
Ooh,
Allmark.
You going back to him?
Yeah.
Afternoon game in Philly? Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
That's a good question. He's the goalie you want to get in as many games as possible. How long
they play Utah on Sunday, right? So
Yes.
How long has it been since Marilainen's played?
Oh, who did he beat? I can't even remember now.
I'd go with Marilainen, like you said, ahead of a back-to-back. Utah is on fire right now. Are they still leading the league?
No, I think they've slipped a little bit in the last little bit.
They're a wagon right now.
They are very, very good right now. Yes.
Fast team though, right? Like young, fast team.
Yep.
I
don't know. I like Allmark on, and I say that knowing full well that I also like Marilainen against Utah.
Levy also beat Boston. That was the game I was thinking.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, vibes are still off the chart. I don't think it really matters who goes in, but yeah, I'd put Marilainen.
Who are you starting, Graham?
It's a road game, afternoon. I think that's a Levy game. Has to be.
All right.
And then they'll let Linus go on Sunday back at home.
All right. So thank you everyone for watching. Coming in hot is going to be back to you after the Senators Flyers game at 1:00 this Saturday. JMO, you're going to be alone on it. I'm taking that day off, but I'm sure the show is in safe hands with you. Thank you for being here, everyone. Graham, thank you for joining us. It's always
stopping by.
It's always great. It's always great.
I thought you were
going to
stop and thank you for being.
Thank you for being. Thank you for being. Yeah, it's going to be
killing it.
Sorry, that's the nicest thing anyone said to me on this show.
Thank you for being alive, Graham. I appreciate you. I can't wait for those calendars to come out.
Mr. April, is that you?
No, no. I'm not handsome enough or in good enough shape to be in one of those calendars.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
They're so no.
As the young guy on the main pod, you're beautiful enough in my eyes. And Jake, thanks for correcting me. It is going to be Wally with Carter Hutton after that Flyers game. So you guys better tune in for that show. It's going to be a
there you
hoot.
go.
But yeah, thank you everyone for joining, and have a good rest of your week. It's 1 week into November, so hold on, guys.
Go Sens,
See
go.
everybody.
You've been watching Coming in Hotter, your home for Sens post-game coverage all season long. We're live after every game. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show.